On the Sports Daily, it's time to introduce the 1985 Brownlow medalist from the Footscray Football Club at Brad Hardie. This segment is proudly presented by Retrovision, Loans 123 and Ross's Auctioneers and Valuers. Introducing the boy from Hilton, the AFL guru, Brad Hardie.
Good morning to you, Bradley.
Morning, Diggers. Good morning, TC. Can I just add to your little conversation there before? The most tenacious West Indies bowler was Andy Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
The quickest was Malcolm Marshall. The awkward one was Joel Garner, but my all-round favourite was Whispering Death, Michael Holding. Pretty hard to go past him, Diggers, I would have thought.
Yeah, he was frightening, Michael Holding, and you only have to go back to that. Was the test here at the Wacker? And I'm going all the way back, Brad, I think to 75. I'm looking skyward here and TC's looking at me like I've got two heads. I reckon it was 75, 76 or 76, 77 when the West Indies played Australia and a young Michael Holding was in that test mix. And that was, I think there was Lawrence Rowe, Roy Frederick, all of those sort of players. And Michael Holding was operating in the... Dennis Liddy was in that as well, but I think they were operating around the, 95, 96, 97 mile an hour, like on a deck that was lightning fast, frightening.
No doubt about that. He looked like he could cross codes to athletics, didn't he? He looked like he'd be a stylish 400-metre runner, for instance. You know what I mean? He could do it. He could do it all. So, good discussion. Now, listen, with just a bit of breaking news and away from NRL, Ryan Pappenhausen has walked out on the Melbourne Storm. So, you might want to get Sully on about that a little later. But the bottom line is that this Ars 360 is coming in, and they've released him from his contract. So it looks as though any player that joins this Ars 360 TC is going to be subject to a 10-year ban, according to pushhead Pete Volandis. So he's got a little bit of thinking to do as out where he wants to go. But, geez, it sounds like there's a bit of money on the table there. This is a breakaway league of sorts, like cricket and a few others that have done it in the past. So Ryan Pappenhausen, at the age of 27, maybe switching to Ars 360. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, that's a big story. Big story. That'll be getting some traction over there.
Tough club to walk away from.
Yeah, but the money's too big, TC. It's the conning money and some. You know what I mean? I think that's you could be talking 10 million. Like that. That's huge. Like over a period of time, I'm talking about. Yep. But it's certainly got to be. You got to sit up and take notice, I would think. Yep. Boys, depressing news today. We knew about it. It's been bubbling along in the background for some time with Stephen May and Dion Prestia. Officially, charges allegedly have been made against these two lads for a Boxing Day night fracas down in Sorrento last year. Both players, as you'd expect, have totally denied these claims. Interesting that May's been charged with a fray. There's a few more there for Dion Prestia, who claims he was never there. So that's going to be interesting. We'll have to wait. We can't be judge and jury or prosecutor or defender. We have to wait. But I will tell you one thing, it's not pretty, and there was two people who had to go to hospital that particular night for what they claimed to be superficially injuries, but one, I'm led to believe, I found out this morning, allegedly is legally blind because of it now.
Okay, we'll watch and see how that plays out. The reaction to all the new rules that we can expect in 2026 yesterday, Brad, I don't think any of these caught us by surprise.
No, they did not, and I'm happy to be devil's advocate, as we always are, and, I would like to, a lot of it's aesthetic or cosmetic, we know that, but, there's only one real change, but we're changing rules from changing rules, TC, and what I mean by that is the ruck rule was changed a few years ago because they didn't want PCL injuries. Well, they're inviting them back. I don't care what people say at this stage. I don't have to see a ball thrown up because it's not going to be bounced anymore. What you're going to find is if it's going to be a game for Aaron Sandilands or Darcy or, who are 6'20", or Nick Nantnui types who can jump, or DeConning and these sort of guys. I get all of that. We want the jumpers back, but they can change angles and all of that sort of stuff. But if I'm a player like Sean Darcy, like Cherry from Diggus' team North Melbourne, or Grundy from Sydney, for instance, TC, I'm going to jump through them. And what is that going to invite? it's going to invite knee on knees and the propensity for ruckman to get in. You watch, take it to the bank. The next 12 or 18 months, we'll see an acceleration of jumping ruckman, getting knee problems from centre bounce down. So what do? Do you put the tallest bloke in the middle at the start of the game for the bounce downs and whatever, and then run them off the fifth person off the bench? These are all the things that are going to have to unfold. So it's one of the anomalies I've found straight off the bat, boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. I actually don't mind it, Brad, because I know there is that risk of the PCLs, albeit it's not as dire as it once was when they were, 25 years ago when they were steaming into each other. Yeah, but I'd rather see two big ruckmen jump at the football than what we see.
I agree, but we don't have that. That's what I'm saying. Not every club has that. Fremantle has Luke Jackson who can. They have Sean Darcy who can't. Grundy up there at Sydney can't. But I don't know whether Laddams can. You go around the league. I would dare say Flynn can't for West Coast, but Williams might be able to. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I'm getting to. So as I say, and then you throw into the fact that last disposal out, we've seen that. We knew that was coming. Diggers, as we said, but again, there's going to be a propensity to push the rule. I don't like it personally. That's just my opinion. I don't care. People can like it. That's fine. I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. So the knee-jerk reaction, the intention or the last intention rule, deliberate intent last rule was frustrating at times, but it gave the crowd something to go up about and all of that sort of stuff. I don't think it was necessary. You're going to have less throw-in. So what does the ruckman do? All he does is fold back numbers behind the football. And with the kick out of defence, there's going to be wet days, TC, where it's going to slew off the side of the boot, and it's going to go out of bounds, and it's going to be a free kick to the opposition with no common sense at all. I'm just going to the extremes because you've got to in these cases. And I'm also going to see if that ball goes kicked out of defence by someone, there's going to be players who are going to be happy to corral the ball over the line without touching it, knowing they're going to get the kick. And I don't know if that's great for the game. I don't think that's a great look. The ruck ones around the ground, we understand that. We've all agreed in the past, two up the same colour. Free kick to the opposition. Well, they've tried to help that a little bit, but it has got a faux pas. The faux pas is this. If the ruckman's too far away and not a player if Digby is playing for North Melbourne and doesn't signal that he's going up for the ball, and the ruckman, Sherry's 30 yards away, if they throw the ball up and the opposition, which you're playing for, TC, for West Coast or Collingwood, the ball hits the ground before you can touch it. How stupid is that going to look when you throw the ball up like that and it's going to hit the ground before someone can touch it? Some of these things, it's making it easier on the umpires. I get that, and that's what we're trying to do. But, just again, interpretations. And don't start me on this. This is the big real one for me. Is the shrugging and ducking. There was a difference between shrugging and ducking. Now they're morphing the two. That's going to be hard work. The time between a player like a Watson, the wizard from Hawthorn, winning the ball and ducking, he said, absolutely ping him. But there's a fraction of a second or so before he ducks his head to go into the tackle. Now you're going to have what I call professional sweaters, Diggers. So the person who goes in and playing the ball is going to get demonised because it's going to be easy. As soon as the bloke gets the ball, the prior opportunity is removed. And if you tackle him, of course, you should be able to shrug a tackle. But Robert Harvey made an art form of it. There have been others too that have got strong through the core. So you should be able to do that. I think this is going to cause a little bit of consternation amongst the fans.
So, Diggers, and Brad, I'll ask you as well, a player must stand if they are within the protected area when a mark or free kick occurs instead of being able to drop out of the area. Does that refer just to the man on the mark, or is that every player?
Well, here's the thing. Just try and picture this if you can. So there's a marking contest. There's 4 or 5 players around that marking contest. The ball is marked, and one player, let's say it's Diggers. Digby, stand. He can be a metre behind the mark. He can be a metre to the side of the mark. He is told to stand, and he has to stand. He can't do what our Bulldogs used to do and roll back 5-6 metres and invite the player to play on, okay? But the other 3 or 4 that are in that there, they don't have to stand there like statues. They're allowed to leave the area. Yeah. It's just the one, and then that's the way it'll be done.
Yep, agree.
That'll be hard hearing at some games, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, look, as I say,
if you nominate one of 4 players.
Diggers is on the mark. Take this to the bank. The stand rule will not be in the game in a year's time. I guarantee you that. And the reason I say that, and as Diggers has highlighted many times over the journey as well, Mate, sometimes the player, when they get a free kick or whatever, and the bloke's told to stand on the mark, the bloke picks up the ball sometimes 2 metres to the left or 2 metres to the right. They're already off the mark. And the player on the mark cannot move. He's a statue. It's ridiculous because the bloke gets a free flow at it anyway.
Yeah. I thought the rule changes, Brad, there were 7 of them. I thought it was basically Greg Swan implementing a great chunk of common sense.
Yeah, in a deal. That's what the umpires need. Not Greg Swan. The umpires need. They need to be given the autonomy to be able to do that. Here's a thought now, because it's not really about time and play. It is indirectly. It's more about the length of the game from start to finish. That's what they're worried about. The wasting of the. So here's a thought. You get 20 minutes for half time and you get 6 minutes for quarter and three-quarter time. Shave it down. 1 minute, so 5 minutes for quarter time, 5 minutes for three-quarter time, 15 minutes for half time. There's 7 minutes straight off the bat. They're trying to get an extra lesson than the margin of most games by about 15 minutes. There's 50% of it there. Right there. And so, and because you know what it's like, because you played, so have you, TC, so have I. At quarter time things, you spend 3 minutes walking around and getting a drink and whatever and just getting your breath back. You don't need that. The coach gets you in for the last minute, 90 seconds to give you any last second instructions. Same with half time. You're wasting your time pretty much. You're sitting down for the best part of 5, 6, 7 minutes. Yeah, you got to recuperate, but this is what the game's got to be. And it doesn't need to be any faster. I think the game itself is fast enough. I just think we've gone into knee-jerk reactions in any event to try and make the overall game shorter.
Yeah. All right, Brad. The chairman of the commissioner, Craig Drummond. What can you tell us?
Yep. Look, I can't tell you a lot. It's a captain's pick by Goyder. Goyder just refuses to go. The clubs have been trying to remove him for some time. He just hangs around. He just wants to be there. It's a captain's pick. Go figure. The presidents, TC, can select the commissioners, but they don't get to select their chairman. They're the constituents, mate. They should be able to. Now, a lot of them wanted Jeff Brown. They knew they were falling on deaf ears because Goyder was providing that with a couple of his commission members writing in roughshod for him and support. So they've anointed this guy. I still think there's an opportunity between now and March when they really fully employ this, that there will be a pushback from the chairmen of the 17, 18 clubs. But they have to band together. They can't go in and fits and starts. They have to all go in together. Look, he was in control of Geelong when the third party investigation was going on. It's good that as football people, you can see what they're trying to do. They brought in Greg Swan. They brought in Jeff Walsh. They brought in Tom Harley. They brought in football club people, which is what it needed. But I dare say I think there'll be a bit of a push and shove there in that regard.
All right. Anything else, Brad?
There's a little bit going on, mate. I'll put it on the market now that I think in 12 months' time that Zach Butters will be playing for the Bulldogs. We tried to get him this year very much so. He wanted to come, but he didn't have the inclination to get out of Port like a Zach Merritt did.
Yep.
So that'll be one thing. So keep an eye on that next year, boys. I'd like to thank you, Diggers and TC, along with Timmy Walker in the past, the more recent times with what we've been doing. Marty and Shorty with the aftermath. Fantastic program and going well. I've been here a long, long time with Shorty and Wesley. I go back to those days. Wesley Cameron, what a ludicrous loss to this station he was. The only bloke who understood the radio situation full stop. And I go back all that time ago, before you were born, TC, with Shorty and Richie Bell doing this show. So that was absolutely brilliant. So it's been a long, long time. I'd also like to thank the back of house, Jeff Miller, the tech, who's helped me through numerous problems over the years. Producers like yourself, TC, and Sophie, and all the stand-in ones from time to time. And Kelly Sarich in the accounts there. I tell you what, I've given her an earache over the journey with invoicing and things like that. We will be rebooting elsewhere in February, so just stay on your socials and you'll be able to find that at some stage. And to my very, very extra three brothers, they are, Diggers, Glennie Mortimer, from Retrovision, who's been a brilliant man and a fantastic provider for this station. There's been the Nude Nut, Steve Sell at Loans 123. It was West Australian Auto Finances. He's been through them all. And Frankie Lee at Ross's Oxen, who's been an absolute champion. And I dare say those boys will be fronting up with us where we go in February. But it's been a pleasure to be on the station. To all the listeners, we don't necessarily agree on all things as diggers, and I've had a bit of parrying from time to time. That's not what I'm here for. I was there to stimulate. I hope we gave entertainment. And unfortunately, due to, and I often criticise footy clubs, don't I, diggers, about their boards and how they make inept decisions because they are inept themselves. They do not know their product properly. They do not know what they are managing, and they make wrong decisions. And this is no different. This will be my last, boys. So I wish you well. And I hope everybody in the TAB radio now, whose futures are up in the air, are settled in the not-too-distant future.
Well said, Brad. Don't be a stranger. I think you've been a wonderful contributor to not only this radio station, but sport racing in general in this state, because we do see it through the lens of a parochial sandgroper, and we thank you so much for your contribution, mate.
Pleasure, boys. Go well. And don't forget, Frankie Lee at Ross's Oxen, he's a champion. Don't forget the Nude Nut, 1-800-100-100. They're going to still continue business, even though they might not be hearing him on the station. He can do things the banks can't. And, of course, Group 1 Morts, 17 stores. His picture's still above your head there, TC. I can see you listening, boys. Go well.
Thank you very much, Brad. Very well said, and we'll catch up very, very shortly.
Brad Hardie is proudly presented by Retrovision, Loans 123, and Ross's Auctioneers and Valuers. Retrovision, lowest price guaranteed. RAC members save 5%. Loans 123 for all your loan needs. Call Steve Sell on 1-800-100-100.